Welcome to the Encore Effect, the podcast where music takes center stage in life's second act. Brought to you by Encore Creativity, America's largest choral organization for adults 55 and older. This inspiring series celebrates the transformative power of music, community, and creativity in the later years of life. Each episode will share moving personal stories from encore singers across the country and dive into fascinating conversations with experts in neuroscience, gerontology, and the arts. Discover how choral singing is boosting brain health, improving well-being, and lighting up the lives of thousands of older adults nationwide. From retirees finding their voice for the first time, to the science behind why doctors are prescribing music for the mind, the Encore Effect proves that creativity is endless. Join us and let the music move you.
Welcome to the Encore Effect, and we are so glad that you have joined us. My name is Joshua Vickery, and I am the CEO of Encore and today's host. And we're very excited to begin this journey of telling the story and the impact of this amazing organization, Encore Creativity for Older Adults, the nation's largest choral programming serving adults over 55. And today, in our inaugural episode, we are so honored to have the founder of Encore to tell us a little bit about her journey as an artist and her journey in founding this wonderful organization. Jeanne Kelly is the founder of this organization, and with over 50 years in music, she holds degrees in voice performance and piano from the University of Findlay and a master's in voice performance from the Peabody Institute of the Johns Hopkins University. As a performer, Jeanne made her professional operatic debut with Washington Opera at the Kennedy Center. And she has sung major roles with Baltimore Opera, Opera Delaware, Central City Opera, Tulsa Opera, Annapolis Opera, and New York City Opera Education Department, including appearing in the world premiere of Rappaccini's Daughter with Pennsylvania Opera Theater. On the concert stage, she's performed with the National Symphony, Baltimore Symphony, Rochester Philharmonic, Delaware Symphony, and Annapolis Symphony, among many others. She's also sung with prestigious ensembles, including the Berlin Brass Quintet, Bach Aria Group, Washington Bach Consort, and the Bethlehem Bach Festival. Jeanne has conducted the U.S. Naval Academy Women's Glee Club, presenting concerts throughout the U.S. and England, and also led the Georgetown University Choir. She's taught at the Baltimore School for the Arts, Hood College, the Naval Academy, and the Levine School of Music, and conducted workshops for the Smithsonian Institution. Her accolades are many, but they also include the 2017 Annie Award for the Performing Arts from the Arts Council of Anne Arundel County, being named one of PBS Next Avenue's 12 Influencers in Aging in 2018, receiving Help Age USA's inaugural 60 over 60 honor, the Distinguished Alumni Award from the University of Findlay in 1995, and serving as their commencement speaker in 2014. Beginning October 2025, this is great news, she'll serve as conductor of the newly formed Annapolis Philharmonic Orchestra Chorus. Jeanne, we are so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here.
And you have told the story of Encore so many times. I got the privilege of learning about Encore and meeting you in 2016. And when I went to the National Endowment for the Arts and I said, who do I need to know? We had received a grant to do programs for older adults. Who do I need to know? And the first person they said was Jeanne Kelly. She is doing the work and she's doing it great at Encore. So Jeanne, there's so many things I want to ask you, but let's just go back to the very beginning. What inspired you to start this organization? What was the catalyst for you to say, this needs to exist?
Well, I always thought that older adults nobody saw them. nobody realized their potential, and they just they saw problems instead of possibilities. And I just knew that they were so much more capable, and I wanted to make that happen. Life doesn't stop when you become 55 or whatever. It should improve. So I decided that we needed an excellent arts program for these people. And of course, my area of expertise is singing. So thus, we started, I started under the National Endowment for the Arts with Dr. Cohen. He invited me to do the study. And it was a study, it was a landmark creativity and aging study. And he was an international gerontologist, and the study covered theater, it covered storytelling, and it covered choral programs. And I was the lead conductor for the choral program. And it studied the mental, physical, and social benefits of older adults studying the arts under, now the key word, here it comes, under a professional artist. Not the lady down the street who thought that she could do this, but a professional artist was key to the study. And this study just flew. It was fantastic. And I did the study for 3 years. It grew and it grew and it grew. Our average age of singer was 72. And as the study progressed, each singer was interviewed by a medical professional before they began rehearsing in September and after they finished their rehearsals in May. And the singers after the first year reported fewer falls, fewer doctor visits, fewer hospital visits. They took less medication. Their morale was much higher. It just was incredible what these singers were reporting. So the study went on for 3 years. And after that, probably a year went by, and I decided to start Encore.
So the work is truly transformative, and we have heard about this research in so many circles of arts and aging and health, and the research still stands today. And it was really the catalyst for the creative aging movement that we now know. And, take us back to that study to start with, Jeanne. If we know what the research said, right? Fewer doctor visits and less falls and less prescriptions and all those amazing things. But what did you experience in the rehearsal room? What did you see? What did you feel, right? Like, how did you know that what you were doing was making a difference?
Well, the first thing I saw was joy. And they were thrilled to be working under a professional. And they just, the morale that they showed, that they came in with each week, and they met more and more friends, and they would go out to lunch, and they would go to shows together. It was just really wonderful to see them coming alive.
Coming alive. It just the joy and the friendships and the building the community. There's so many other pieces of choral singing that you don't always think about, and those social connections and those mental health benefits and all of the things that we know to be true. You as a conductor got to see that week in and week out. And that's part of the reason in 2007 you said, hey, this research is great and I know it's powerful, and I know that choral singing for older adults under a professional conductor is important. So I need to keep this going, right? Is that what happened? You just said, I got to keep this going.
That's what happened. But let me backtrack a little bit. One of the reasons why it was so successful right off the bat, the study, is that there were no auditions. Now, I can tell you that older adults nobody likes to audition.
It's scary.
Yeah, I even know professional artists that don't like to audition. So there were no auditions. And all the rehearsals were during the day, which is very important. A lot of people, older people don't like to drive at night. And so there were a lot of reasons why this was successful right from the beginning. And it was free. Mm-hmm. So, and they got to perform. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of good things about it.
So, Jeanne, when I came to be the CEO in 2021 and I hosted these focus groups and asked people, what is it that you love about Encore that we just can't change? I'll give you one guess what the number one answer was. You just talked about it.
No auditions. No auditions.
You're right. People love that fact that everyone is welcome at Encore. So if to our listeners that just love to sing and they, have enjoyed music, what would you say to people that are considering, joining a choir, joining Encore, but they've never sung in a choir before? What advice would you give them if they say, I don't think I can read music, or I don't think I can sing in a choir? What would you say?
Well, first of all, the conductors are all singers. They're very studied in the art of singing. So they talk a lot about it. I used to talk a ton about vocal technique, and the singers would really get into it. And we had some singers that honestly had never sung before. And I said, just give it a try. I'll seat you beside someone that is good, that knows what they're doing. And one of the things that Encore was, I said, never judge your seatmate. Never say anything about what they're doing. That was a real naughty. So we did not do that. But I firmly believe that everyone can sing. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly believe that.
And that lives on in the organization still today. We share that everyone can sing. Everyone has a place at Encore. Everyone belongs at Encore. You just have to be 55 or older and love music.
Yeah, and I used to love it. I would have people that had never sung. Maybe after a month, they'll come up to me and they are so psyched about this organization and singing, and they just totally immerse themselves in it. So it does have a lot of great aspects for the older singer.
So Encore Creativity is formed, and you start the very first ensemble. So take us back to the very first ensemble you started under Encore Creativity, and tell us, how did you grow it? How did you know where to start a new ensemble, and how did you grow it to be, the organization that you left when you retired?
Well, if you look at a map of Washington, D.C., it's in a circle and just the Beltway. So I just kind of went around the Beltway. We had the 3 chorales that were started under the study. We had Goodwin House, Bailey's Crossroads. We had Goodwin House. What's the name? Oh my gosh.
Alexandria. Goodwin House.
Yeah, Alexandria. Yes, Alexandria. And then we had what was the third one? We had the Baltimore, but Baltimore was not part of the study. The one in Arlington was part of the study.
Got it.
And so we had those 3 chorales. And so you had Alexandria, Arlington, and then way up north in Arlington, a totally different area. And then we started one in Baltimore because someone gave us grant money to fund the whole thing. So that grew into a huge group. So now we're in Baltimore and we're in Washington. And then in Washington, D.C., we started one out in Fairfax. We had one in Washington, D.C., the huge Smithsonian Encore Chorale. We had them all over, Alexandria, Fairfax, Springfield, just kind of going around the Beltway. And there was an Encore Chorale. And it was great because what do older people have to do as they age? They have doctor's appointments, or they love to travel, so they would miss some rehearsals, but they could make it up easily because there was an Encore Chorale near them that they could make it up. So it really made great sense. And yeah, I don't remember what the rest of that question was, Joshua.
You answered it all. So, Encore is continuing to grow, and we're now in 12 states, Jeanne, which is just incredible. And it's the model of what we do is replicable, and it's scalable, and it's growing. But what do you think? You've already talked about no auditions and working with a professional conductor, and everyone is welcome and can sing. But is there anything else that you think is like the special sauce? Like what's the secret sauce to Encore that makes it so beautiful?
Professionalism. And what I mean by that is these singers, they work really hard for 15 weeks, and then they're presented in a very professional concert. They get up there in their concert black attire. They look fabulous. They sound fabulous. And these older singers really appreciate that. And I think that the professionalism is the key.
I love that. That's amazing. So, Jeanne, you have so many moments that mattered over your 15 years of leading Encore Creativity as an organization. Is there any kind of special moment that sticks out to you when you look back and say, this is something I was really, really proud of?
I would have to say, we had been invited to perform on the Millennium Stage at the Kennedy Center for about 12 years, I think. Mm-hmm. And the last year that we've performed there, it was a fabulous concert. The singers, first of all, these singers were serious. And, I would tell them, we're going to the Kennedy Center. You got to listen to everything their staff says and do it. There's no questions. That's how we are as professional older singers. So the concert was just magnificent. So the next day, I get a call from the Kennedy Center, and the woman that I had been dealing with said, your concert was just marvelous. She said, and I thought, oh, here we go. You've outgrown the Millennium Stage. So next year we are going to present you in the Kennedy Center Concert Hall. Well, I thought I would fall off my chair. It was a moment. It was a moment. I thought, oh my gosh, we've done this. We're doing it. And, some of the other moments, the camps, I had this idea, what do older adults like to do? They like to go away. They like to travel. They love to sing. So I, right off the bat, started the camps, 3 of them. I must have been out of my mind in 1 year. And then we started the European travel. And that was excellent. We we'd all gather and get on a riverboat, unpack our stuff for 2 weeks, travel the rivers, and sing concerts. So we were serving a real purpose in that many of these older adults were, they had maybe lost a spouse and they didn't have anyone to travel with. Well, suddenly they've got 100 of their best friends to travel with. And it was wonderful to be on those trips with those singers. They got everybody excited.
Yeah. And you just mentioned something that's another beautiful thing about Encore is that having singers that are 55 or older are going through similar life stages together. So in friendships and building community and making music together, they're also able to kind of walk through life together, whether it be retirement or health or grandkids. It's like there's this shared life experience that happens in such a powerful way.
And they all want the same thing. They all want to be challenged. They want to be respected. They want to be noticed. They want to make a difference in their aging. And I remember coming up with the 3 C's for encore singers. I said, we got to make them feel comfortable, because if you don't feel comfortable, you're not ever going to feel confident. And so we needed to get to that confident level. And then I thought, well, we're going to the Kennedy Center Concert Hall. We better darn well be courageous. So I use those 3 words: comfortable, confident, and courageous.
I love it. And Jeanne, you have made thousands of older adults courageous over your time of leading Encore and giving so many people possibilities and opportunities to do wonderful things. As a founder, I know that the vision and the dream and the really hard work comes with the founder, but we're never alone, right? So is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, that maybe just somebody who was really helpful or inspiring?
My husband.
I kind of knew you might say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have done it without him, because I will be the first one to say that I am computer challenged. Give me anything to play on the piano. I can sing, I can conduct, but I don't know, something about the computer is not my thing. And I mean, he did all kinds of things, and especially during COVID. I mean, we all jumped through hoops to keep Encore going. Yeah, that's when we came up with Encore University. I knew we had all these conductors who had all this knowledge who could teach these classes. And that Encore University really helped us to go forward. And all the computer, I mean, the jack trip and all, oh my gosh, it was frightening. Let's just put it that way. But we got the singers, and the singers would have to make their own videos to send in so that we could send them off to, I think it was Colorado, and they would make this beautiful concert out of all the videos that we sent. And I remember a story about this singer, and she could not do it. She was having trouble. She went outside, and she lived in DC, and she found this young guy. She said, "Would you help me?" And somehow I guess he went up to her apartment and helped her. And I got his name, and I called him, and I said, he said, "What is Encore?" And I explained it, and he said, "Well, it's wonderful." But it was a tough time, but we all made it happen. But Larry really stepped up to make it happen.
A huge shout out to Larry, who I know absolutely helped so much along the way. So Jeanne, you have worn many hats, a performer. I listed out those incredible things from singing in classical ensembles and operas. You're an educator, you're a conductor. Are there any of these artistic roles that you cherish or value the most?
I think starting Encore, definitely. It has had a huge impact on so many older adults, and it has made a huge difference in their lives. Huge. So, no, of all the things that I've done, and there's a lot of singers out there like myself. I feel very, very fortunate to have done what I did.
So founder of Encore is your favorite role. I love that.
Yes, it is. Yep.
So
yeah, we ought to give it like an opera name.
I love it. I can't believe our time is almost up because I have like 3,000 more questions I want to ask you, Jeanne, but we'll leave our listeners with this because this is a really important question and I know it means something to you. So for those that are listening, who might be hesitant about trying music later in life, what would you say to them?
Oh, I would say that they bring so many tools to the table. It's a new thing. And of course, they're going to feel timid, but just give it a try. You're going to be with like-minded people and you're going to have a great conductor, and just give it a try.
I love that. Give it a try. So Jeanne, as we head out, you've had an amazing career and you are still going. You're about to start conducting this choir in Annapolis. But as we look back over that career, what do you want people to remember you by?
Starting Encore.
There's a theme here. I love it. There's a theme to this podcast.
Yeah. It's the most meaningful by far. Definitely.
Well, and thousands of lives already and those to come will be impacted and changed because of you, Jeanne. And because of your vision, we can have this podcast. So thank you for being our very first guest, reminding us a little bit about the story and the journey of this beautiful organization. And I'm excited to have so many conversations about its continued impact. So thank you, Jeanne, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us on Encore Effect. And we'll see you next week.